Alfian and Rian Ardianto from Indonesia, one of the best men's doubles players in the world, currently ranked 6th. They've had a pretty successful year so far. They're a pair that have so much talent, and obviously work with the Indonesian head men's doubles coach, who's a genius in the sport. But what keeps baffling me is when I watch them play, a massive part of their game, which I think that lets them down, is Rian Ardianto's serve. From the back of the court, Ardianto is so powerful and is really quick, but his serve, he just looks really uncomfortable. It's not unusual to watch them lose multiple points in games just from a service area, and obviously that's such a cheap way to lose a point. It can change the momentum and the outcome of a match so quickly. In this video, I really wanted to look at why this was the case, because I don't doubt that he practices his serve all the time when in training. Whenever I watch him serve though, it never looks comfortable. It looks like he really wants to quickly move past this serve and get into the rally, rather than taking his time and maximising his chances of a successful serve. I'm not a badminton coach at all, but what I see from comparing him to other professionals is that his technique and his serve just doesn't look perfect. If we look at some other professionals, even his teammate here, Alfian, whose serve is really good, and you can see he goes through various stages before serving. Alfian will make sure his setup is good, and that includes his feet, body position and posture, before he even approaches the shuttle with his racket. He then comfortably places his racket head next to the shuttle, which is out in front of him, and pauses for a second. And I think that pause is really important to make sure he's ready to play the serve, and also check that the racket and the shuttle is in the right angle and facing each other. Only at this point, he then pushes the shuttle over in a repetitive way, using the weight of his body as well as his arms and hands to make the serve as consistent as possible. And this is so common at the top level of men's doubles. Players like to have a routine, and most players will hold the shuttle next to their racket before moving and pushing it over. Takura Hoki from Japan is another example of a player who I love to watch when serving. He has his weight right forward and therefore leaning towards the net. He then has a very repeatable hitting action. It's almost like he doesn't hit it like you would hit a normal shot. It's very much a pushing action, which makes it consistent. On the other hand, Rian Ardianto does the opposite of this, and sometimes you see things that you would expect from even lower level players, and not someone at his calibre. It's not going to be as consistent as it should be. You can see just in his setup, Ardianto is very straight and upright in his approach, not leaning forward or backwards, and just keeping his weight balanced, which isn't necessarily bad. What I find strange is that his left foot isn't even near the line, at least not in this match anyway. And this is really uncommon at men's doubles, because by being further away from the serve, the shuttle is in the air for longer, and therefore gives your opponents more time to react. Maybe the reason he does this is because by standing further back, the shuttle will come over the net flatter and drop quicker perhaps. But for me, it just doesn't fill me with much confidence. Then, as I was talking about with players holding the shuttle to their racket and taking their time, Ardianto doesn't do this either. As you can see, he loosely holds his left arm out, with the shuttle behind his racket, and then he will serve by pulling his racket back and hitting it that way. Again, this creates more of a hitting action rather than a pushing action that you see from other top men's doubles players in their serves. It all seems very rushed and creates a lot of room for error. And then you have to also consider the pressure that he's under, which can amplify that even more and just make it even less consistent. In my opinion, I just don't get why with some of the best coaches in the world in Indonesia, why his serve is that way, and in my opinion, it's one of the worst at the top level in men's doubles. I know some players are just naturally better at it than others, just like every other part of the game, but I think some things I mentioned in this video he can improve on. And like I said, I'm not a coach, but it's just some things that I've picked up on. And I think it would take him to the next level as a player, because the rest of his game is ridiculously good. Even his body language and his facial expressions when he's serving, it just doesn't look confident at all. Let me know what you guys think, and have you noticed his serve before, or do you not agree with me? Let me know in the comments. If you haven't already, please remember to subscribe to the channel and like the video. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.